I would like to ask you one final question, which is really relevant because, many of the listeners of today's chat will be from universities. So like students who are actually in business or, maths or different departments, and also like junior people who are just 1 or 2 years into their career, who are still trying to find their way. So those people really might benefit from your career advice in the context that if they would like to get into pricing. So for example, if they would like to become this VP of pricing that you kind of envisioned, Tim, what are the best advices that you would give to them? Obviously, they need to read your books, Tim. But what are the other advices that comes to your mind? Maybe you can start.
Quick networking. The numbers are about one pricing person for every 100 to 500 million in revenue. Euros or dollars, they're about the same. Okay, but around that range. Meanwhile, there's one salesperson for every 2 million in revenue. So salespeople or marketing people are going to outnumber pricing people 100 to 1. It's just the reality. So the problem that people have in pricing is isolation, not being able to talk with peers, professional peers, learning from them. So the attendance of the World Pricing Day, the attendance of meetings where people are coming together to talk about pricing and learn from each other, finding ways of getting jobs. That's the important. I'm sorry. Yeah, I am all about people, aren't I, Burc?
Yeah, I love it.
I can do the math, but
no. We all do the math. I think I love that. That's why I'm really like kind of pushing it. I would really like to hear the human word more and more people word, which is great. Okay, fair choice. Networking is, I think, a great tip for all sorts of careers, but due to this isolation thing that we all addressed, I think it makes a lot of sense. So what are your thoughts, Sari? So how can they become Sara-Marie in Pricefx, for example, in 5 years' time?
Starting a career in pricing, I think it is easy compared to other career paths. So the first thing you need to do is just do it. Just go get a pricing job. There are so many out there. Companies are fortunately desperately looking for pricing professionals because, as Tim said, this is something which is becoming more and more important. But there's no university or whatever out there offering this as a career path. At some point, everybody working in pricing started with no pricing background. Don't be afraid of getting into this space. You're going to learn on the job. Find out if you really like this early enough and then decide whether you want to do this or not. If you're not passionate about this topic, run. Like, you won't enjoy it. You cannot force yourself into this role. But once you're in this space, as Tim said, networking, educate yourself on the topics which are upcoming. AI is one of the most important ones because it will shape the future. And it is one you need to have a lot of background knowledge on to be really talking about this topic, because otherwise it's just buzzwords. And that does work like on a high level, but if you want to be successful working on pricing strategies, working as a pricing professional, you need to have more background knowledge. And there's a lot of educational material out there, free to access. Just Google whatever you want to know, and there are so many professionals, companies sharing their knowledge, so you can educate yourselves on whatever you want to take up first. Yeah, and then just go with the flow. Whenever there's an opportunity, just don't be afraid to take it. Pricing is always linked to a lot of responsibility. Tim just backed this up by the numbers. So don't be afraid. It is really something which can be a lot of fun, and you will be able to be part of shaping the future for the companies out there. So let's go.
Yeah, great.